In today's episode, we are sharing all the details of our kid-free getaway to the Grand Caymans, including our stay at the Kimpton Seafire Hotel, which, spoiler alert, was maybe the nicest hotel that we have ever stayed at. We'll be sharing exactly how we booked it, how much money we saved, and what our plan is to bring our entire family back here in the future. Tune in. Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Dwayne.
And we are your hosts of the Travel Party of Five podcast, where we share how we travel as a family of five around the world.
We will also share how we use points and miles to travel as affordably as possible and sometimes even completely free.
So if you're wanting to travel more with your family, but you're not sure how, we'd love for you to listen in.
So welcome to our podcast, where we hope you learn a thing or two to get you closer to your next trip.
Hello, friends. Welcome back
to Travel Party of Five.
We are fresh off of our recent kid-free couples getaway. We try to do at least once a year, and this year we went to the Grand Caymans.
Yeah, it's your yearly birthday trip.
Yes, we try to do it around my birthday, which is actually, at the time of recording, tomorrow. So happy Leo season to all my Leos. How was the trip?
I mean, it was great. Grand Cayman Islands, is a must if you haven't been. It's probably one of the nicest places we've ever been to. Yeah,
so I have been to the Grand Caymans once, and by the way,
Cayman.
We don't know. Is it Cayman, Cayman, Cayman? We have no idea. So I'm going to say it how I've always said it until someone who actually knows can correct me, because we heard it pronounced so many different ways when we were there.
Cayman, I think it is. One guy even called it K-Woman.
So I had been there once before on a cruise, and this was probably 15-ish years ago. And, it was just one of those ones where you stop for the day, and we did a stingray excursion thing, and that was it. I don't really remember much about it other than they hold the stingray up and they take a picture of you, so it looks like the stingray is smiling. But I also remember there just being a lot of people. And so, I don't know. Our experience this time was much different.
It was, trip of a lifetime for sure.
It was just so beautiful. And so this is a family-friendly hotel that we stayed at, but we weren't bothered by the kids.
No.
Because we were there obviously on a couples getaway, so you don't want a bunch of kids running around and screaming, but it really wasn't like that at all. So, I didn't feel bothered at all. So I think it would be great for a couples retreat or a family getaway. Don't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this hotel caters to families.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a family.
Yes. So this
hotel.
Was the first hotel that we have stayed at all year that's not a Hyatt.
Mm-hmm.
How, were you nervous going into it? Because, with Hyatt, I feel like we know what to expect.
No, I wasn't nervous. Excuse me. I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't nervous.
Well, yeah, maybe nervous was the wrong word, but... So let's talk about how we booked it, how we got there, and then we can talk about the hotel. I guess I'll talk about how I booked it.
Yeah, I have no idea how we booked it.
So about a year ago, there was a elevated offer on one of the IHG cards. Okay, so it is the IHG Premier Rewards card. I'm pretty sure the bonus when I signed up was an elevated offer of 180,000 points. And at the time, I didn't realize that these elevated offers come around usually a couple times a year. And I was having FOMO. We had just started getting into travel hacking. So I think this was maybe the third card that I opened. And it is a personal card, so it does count towards 524. And the points had just been sitting there for almost a year. without really any plan. And so when we had decided to change our trip from New York City again to somewhere more relaxing, the Kimpton Seafire had been on my radar, and I knew that we had almost all the points we needed. The other benefit of having this card, and I think most IHG cards, is that when you book on points, you get the 4th night free if you hold the card. So you have to hold the card, you sign into your account, and it'll show you, like, I think it was 70,000 points a night to book this room, but it knocked it down to like 52,000 if I booked 4 nights because I'm a card holder. So all in all, we ended up needing 210,000 points to book it. And I had around 185,000 points. So I needed 25,000 more. And this is one of those instances where it makes sense to buy points. It doesn't make sense to just buy points willy-nilly, but in this case where you just need to top off your points stash to make a specific booking, it makes sense. And IHG often has bonuses. So for example, when I bought points for this stay, they had an 80% bonus. So basically if I would buy 10,000 points, I would receive an extra 800 for free. So I ended up buying 14,000 points and I got another 11,000 something. And so that's how I got my extra 25,000, and that was immediately added to my points balance, and then I was immediately able to book the room. So 210,000 points for 4 nights, ocean view, king room is what I booked. And it was great.
Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Now, so $161 is what it cost me to buy those points. I can't remember if I said that. And then the other kind of caveat or catch maybe with IHG is that their resort fees are not covered on points bookings. So you still have to pay the resort fee out of pocket. And the resort fee at the Kimpton Seafire is $80 a day. So all in all, we paid $80 a day times 4. So $320 plus $160 to buy the points. So $480 cash for 4 nights at a resort that would have cost us over $5,000 to book if we booked in cash. Yes. And that's for the same exact room type on the same exact dates that we booked.
And I'd like to add, the resort fee covered non-motorized
a lot of things. Yeah.
Activities at the beach. There were plenty of seats, umbrellas. You can rent a paddle board, a pedal boat,
any non-motorized
bike.
Things you could like rent for free.
Yes. They had canoes. They had a little sailboat thing. I don't know if you had to pay for that, but it was not motorized. They also had jet skis.
Those were not free.
Not
included in the resort fee.
But they had a happy hour every day where they set up in the lobby, gave you wine for free from 5 to 6.
Yeah, they have a ton of amenities, and we used quite a few of them, and so we can talk all about that when we get to the hotel piece. Do you want to first share how we got there? I feel like it's the same. We say the same thing every time, which is we used our
companion pass.
Yep. So we flew
on Southwest. Yes.
So
we flew from Phoenix to Orlando. We stayed at the Hyatt Regency Airport in Orlando, which is literally in the airport, which was very convenient for us because we flew in around it was 1 a.m. when we got there.
Yeah. Yep. We landed after midnight.
So we just got our bags and went straight to the hotel.
Never even had to step foot outside.
Nope. So convenient.
We just got our bags and just walked to the registration desk, and they were like, here's your room. It was super easy. And Dwayne was kind of blown away that literally the airport is the hotel. The doors of the hotel look out into the atrium of the airport and the TSA security.
Yeah. I don't know if they built the airport around this hotel. I don't know. I didn't get it, but yes, it's literally the airport.
We had questions, but we don't have answers. So no. I don't know. And then we woke up the next day, and there's only one flight on Southwest to the Grand Caymans from Orlando every day. And so it left at, I think, 11. And so we took that flight. It's worth noting that when you look on Southwest to fly from Phoenix to Grand Cayman, it's going to tell you like, oh, sorry, we don't fly that route. And so it's silly because, I mean, they do, right? You just have to kind of compile your itinerary together. Or if you're not experienced and feel nervous, you can call Southwest and they will do it for you over the phone. But I prefer not to make a phone call, and I knew what to do. So I just knew we had to fly to Orlando. I figured that out by using Google Flights. I just was looking for how does Southwest get to the Grand Caymans and from where? And their main departure city is Orlando, at least in the south. And so I knew, okay, we just need to fly to Orlando and then we can book Orlando to the Grand Caymans. And so the way that I booked this was basically 4 one-way tickets. So Phoenix to Orlando, then Orlando to Grand Cayman, and then same way on the way back. Okay, enough of the boring stuff. Let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's talk about the hotel.
The Kimpton Seafire Resort. Definitely, probably one of the nicest places we've ever stayed at.
It was so beautiful. Oh, you know what? It's probably worth noting, to get from the airport to the hotel, it's about 15 minutes, and your best bet and cheapest bet is to take a taxi.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah, it's $40 US. The other option that the hotel gave me was a private transfer, but it was like $140 for literally 15 minutes. So take the taxi. It was super easy. They also drive on the left side of the road here, which was one of the reasons I didn't want to rent a car. Also, we didn't have that much planned and we didn't need a car because we just wanted to relax. But when I said that to Dwayne, he looked at me like I was insane. And why is that?
Because I grew up driving on the left side and the steering wheel on the right.
Yeah. So
I easily could have driven there.
I think that's something that I knew but forgot. And so it's always fun to learn new things about your partner after so many years of marriage. Okay, so we arrive at the hotel. We check in. And we are immediately greeted with like a sparkling rosé cocktail and little chocolate squares.
Yeah.
And
very nice touch.
Yes. Super nice. Definitely.
Super nice lobby.
Yep. Our room wasn't ready because we were there pretty early, like 1. And so they stored our luggage and we went and grabbed lunch at the bar that's like on the beach.
Coco Loba,
it was called. Food was really good, but we walked.
Food was fantastic.
We walked up.
Yeah.
And you are 15 feet from
literally on the beach.
The most beautiful turquoise clear water.
Crystal clear.
I've
just
ever seen.
Stunning setting. We were floored.
We were texting everyone that we know, like pictures, like, oh my God, look at this.
Sending pictures and videos to everyone.
Yeah, it was, so beautiful. So our room wasn't ready for a couple of hours. So after we ate, which by the way, food was very good. I had a shrimp roll that we ended up ordering almost every single day we were there. That's how good it was.
Yeah, super good.
It was delicious. But room wasn't ready. So we ended up hanging out in the lobby because it was very hot and the lobby was air conditioned. And so they have like games and a pool table, and we were there for a couple of hours. We made a dinner reservation with the concierge, and the concierge actually brought us another round of drinks while we were waiting. So that was a nice little touch. And then we got checked into our room. Stunning ocean view room. Like go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as soon as you walk through the door, you're just wowed by the view.
Immediately you can see the ocean from the door. Like as soon as you open the door. I had kind of hoped that we might get upgraded because one of the things that the IHG card that I have gives us is Platinum Elite status, which is the second highest status level. And if there's a upgrade available on your day of check-in, you will get it. However, a couple days before, I had checked on the app to see if there were any suites available for our entire stay, and there was not. Saturday night, all the suites were booked, so I knew that meant we probably would not get upgraded, and we did not. So a little bit of a bummer, but our room was perfect for just the two of us, and it was still great. So no complaints there.
None.
We spent most of our time at the hotel. We didn't really leave much. So we can talk about the restaurants a little bit and the beach and all the amenities that you kind of mentioned some of them before. But and then we did one activity where we left the property.
Yes, we took a boat to Starfish Point.
Yep.
To see a bunch of sea stars.
As they're called.
Yes,
Apparently,
not starfish.
They're not really called starfish.
Which I don't know why they don't call it Sea Star Point. But anyway, we took a boat there, saw some sea stars, and then from there we proceeded to what was the bay called?
It's a bioluminescence bay.
Oh, is that what they call the bay?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And this is where it's a man-made bay surrounded by all these beautiful homes, but the water there has, what is it, bacteria, some kind of bacteria?
Yeah, it's some kind of bacteria that
in the water that if you agitate it, it turns blue. So this was at night.
You have to go when it's dark, like pitch black.
Yeah, and you get in the water and you swim around and you agitate this bacteria and the water turns blue.
Yeah, so it almost looks like it's glowing.
Crazy.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Really, really cool.
But it's a little bit freaky because you're literally swimming in the ocean, basically. It's completely dark.
You're in a bay. It's only like 4 feet, 5 feet.
But they tell you not to touch the bottom because that's where the jellyfish live at night.
Yeah.
And a couple people on our boat got stung, including me. Dwayne doesn't believe I got stung by a jellyfish. You think I got stung by something, right?
Well, the tour guide said that there's something in the water that might agitate your skin to make it feel like you got stung.
Something stung my hand.
Yeah.
And then I was in a little bit of a panic, because you can't see. And I enjoyed myself a little less after that.
She was definitely panicking. She got back on the boat.
I was inwardly panicking. I wasn't outwardly panicking. What's funny is there was like a, 9 or 10-year-old boy there with his parents and his 2 older sisters. And he was in the water too. And he goes, at one point, he was like, to his parents, he was like, I just want you to know that I am fully terrified right now.
Well, because his mom got stung by jellyfish at Starfish Point right before that.
And then his sister also got stung, and I got stung. So, yeah, it wasn't super pleasant, that part, but the bioluminescence was cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was the only thing we had on our itinerary.
Yep. And we spent the rest of the time lounging on beach chairs. Going in the water.
Drinking pina coladas with my pinky up.
Yep. So the hotel has a bunch of restaurants. They have 2 fine dining, which are called Ave and Avecita. Ave does both dinner and breakfast. Avecita, I think, is just dinner. It's kind of weird because they're in the same room, but they're completely different menus. Yeah. So you have to tell when you make a reservation,
which one you're going to.
Yeah, which one. We enjoyed Ave a lot more than Avecita, and we ate there for breakfast every day and for dinner twice.
Yeah.
We did in-room dining once. We ate at the Coco Loba, which is the casual beachfront kind of restaurant bar.
Yeah.
And you went to the pool bar once when I was at the spa.
Yes. And the pool bar had really great food. I didn't order, but totally different menu than everywhere else.
Yeah, so it's nice to have variety.
Yeah.
I will say, though, the food is not cheap.
No.
It's very good, but it's not cheap.
No.
So we have plans to actually bring our kids back here in a year or 2, and that's one of our biggest concerns is how much it's going to cost to feed everyone. So we have some ideas on how we're going to mediate that, but just be aware that the food is not cheap. Let's see. Should I talk about the spa?
Yeah.
So I splurged and treated myself to a 90-minute massage. When you buy a treatment, you can use the facilities for an hour prior. So I went an hour prior.
Well, we were going to do a couples massage.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would have cost us $600.
More than that, because they automatically added 20% gratuity also.
Oh, so we were like, I just said, you know what, you go.
Yeah. Well, and you did the jet ski.
Yeah, and I did the jet ski.
So we each got to do a little something. The spa is beautiful. The massage was great. The facilities are stunning. I mean, they have like a steam room and a quiet room and like a hot tub greenery room that was beautiful. And so it was very relaxing and I really enjoyed it. So I would do it again. It was expensive, but I would do it again. And then like, they gave you tea afterwards. Like, it was a great experience. So definitely much needed with our crazy schedules and stuff that we have. So
Yep.
you want to talk about the jet ski?
I mean, not much to talk about the jet ski. It was for one person to ride the jet ski for half an hour. It was like $98. I did check to see how much it would cost for both of us to ride on one, and that would have cost $120. But I mean, like I said, we were on vacation. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we splurged. I did it. I wasn't going to do it because I thought it was a little expensive, but I said F it, and I did it, and it was a great time.
Well, and you were kind of like 30 minutes, like that's nothing, but it felt like enough time.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it definitely felt. Yeah, I mean, could have been out there for
I know
a lot longer, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to go super quick, but it didn't.
Yeah. So it was a good time. I was lounging on my beach chair.
Yeah. Oh, we also did paddle boards. Too.
Yeah. So Dwayne kind of mentioned this earlier. So the resort fee that you pay, like, it kind of sucks that you have to pay it because, like, with hotels like Hyatt, that's included in the points cost, but you do get a lot for that fee. So we did snorkeling one day. We rented or borrowed the gear, free. We did stand-up paddleboarding, free. We rode bikes, free. Like, everything was included. And so I think that makes it feel a little bit more like you're getting your money's worth. And we only did it one day, like the snorkeling and the paddleboarding, but we could have gone every day if we wanted to. Yeah. They have like floaties and rafts that you can borrow. So, I mean, there's a lot to do. And like, if you're coming with kids, like, you don't have to worry about packing a bunch of equipment either.
Yeah. And if the beach isn't for you, the pool is literally right there as well.
Yeah. We actually never went in the pool.
Never.
But it was, I mean, we would have if we had our kids with us, for sure, because they can only handle the beach for so much. It is worth noting, though, that the beach, is this what you're going to say, is really calm?
Yes, I was going to say that. It's basically like a swimming pool.
Yeah, so like our daughter would have been fine. She's so tiny, and I get really worried about her with big waves, but there were no big waves. No. She would have been fine with just a life jacket. So, yeah. What else? Food. Oh. The other thing we need to talk about is all the little touches that we received that made our stay feel that much more luxurious. Like, tell me if I'm crazy, but it almost felt like we were famous people staying at this resort. They called us by name almost everywhere.
Yes, almost, I mean, everywhere.
I mean, yeah. They knew that it was my birthday because we had let them know beforehand.
They knew they were kid free.
Yep. And they referenced that all the time. So it felt like they really knew us. And they brought me like 4 different birthday desserts. And there was like a birthday treat waiting in our room when we got there.
Yeah. Bunch of chocolates and.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it just like, at one point they brought me out at breakfast, 2 desserts, like an Oreo cheesecake and something else. Yeah. And it said happy birthday.
And I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier. I think I did. But the staff here was, I mean, top notch.
Oh, they were incredible.
Incredible.
You met someone, like one of the pool attendants, right? And
oh, yeah.
You introduced yourself and he remembered your name the rest of the time.
Yep. Mr. Rowell was his name.
Yeah.
Yep. And every time he saw me, he was like, hey, Dwayne, how are you today?
Yeah, I mean, just it was incredible. And then they also, and like, I think it's worth noting, like, we're not special, right? Like, so I think that's how they treat everyone.
Yeah.
But it felt to us like, wow, like we are seen here, which I think is a really valued skill that hotels don't get right a lot. The other thing is they come around during the day with treats. So they have frozen sugared grapes that they walk around in these little triangular little paper things. Yeah. Feels very fancy. One day they brought us popsicles. And not just us, like everyone. They're just walking around saying, hey, would you like some grapes? Hey, would you like a popsicle? Like, yes, I would like a popsicle. It's 85 degrees out. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and they walked around the pool. They walked around the beach.
Yeah.
Handing these out.
Yeah. And then you mentioned this earlier, but they have a happy hour. So every day from 5 to 6 in the lobby, they have a happy hour. So they have like a red wine, a white wine, and then some type of light appetizer. And they also have for kids juice boxes and little, like when we were there, it was like fruit snacks. Yeah. And so, and like
it's free,
completely free.
5 to 6.
I
mean, one day we went and I probably had like 5 glasses of wine.
It's worth noting that they're small glasses of wine. Like they're not pouring heavy, but like, yes, we were like, oh, this is how we're going to save money by not buying wine at dinner. We're just going to have all the wine we want now. And then we won't buy wine at dinner. And so we did. And it was great.
It was great.
The wine was good. Like I had no complaints.
We still bought wine and whiskey at dinner.
Yeah. I mean, it's smart on their part, right? Because they get you all liquored up, right? And then you have less inhibitions and you're more likely to like order the steak or whatever. So get the last glass of wine. So, I mean, I'm sure it's beneficial for them, but they go through a lot of wine. And I mean, there are people all over the lobby taking advantage of this.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Yeah. But it was a really nice little perk if you're trying to save some money.
So Kimpton Seafire, if you have a chance, you have to go for sure.
So I asked, let's talk about the hiccup. We didn't talk about that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So second to last night we were there. Okay. We're sleeping soundly. 2:45 in the morning, an incredibly loud alarm is all of a sudden going off. Not only in our room, but in the entire hotel. And it is saying like, ladies and gentlemen, this is an emergency something. What was it saying?
Please stand by the speaker for further instructions or something like that.
And it is just repeating that over and over and over and over again. And when we sleep in hotels, I sleep with an eye mask and earplugs because I'm a light sleeper. And I don't expect other people in hotels to be quiet. Like I think if you travel a lot, you should know that. And I always am telling Dwayne, like I always make sure he knows like, hey, I have my earplugs in. So in case there's an emergency, like he knows that he has to like wake me up. Nope. Heard this loud and clear through the earplugs. Like, I mean, it was so loud that I, at one point, thought I was going to lose my mind because it was just repeating over and over again and was not stopping.
2:45 in the morning.
Yes. And it went on for at least 5 minutes.
It seemed like eternity, but yes. 5
and
minutes.
Then it turned off and nothing was ever said about it. They didn't come on and say like, sorry about like nothing, no explanation, nothing. So then I am going down a rabbit hole of anxiety, okay, because now I'm awake. And I was awake for a solid 2 hours after this, which is frustrating because part of the reason we were there was we want to sleep and rest. I am Googling like tsunami warnings, okay, because I'm thinking like what could be wrong here? And I know there's no hurricanes because I checked. So I'm like a tsunami. Okay, we're on an island. So what could it be? A tsunami. Sure. I look it up. Nope. Fortunately, there's none. Okay. Whew, thank God. But now my anxiety is just spiraling. And I'm thinking, what if something happens to us while we're away from the kids? Like, or even worse, what if something happens to the kids? Like, and we're not there, you know? And I finally had to just tell myself, like, you need to take some deep breaths.
Yes. I just went on like Facebook and Instagram until I went back to sleep.
Yeah, and like it's worth noting, this is all happening silently. Like Dwayne is unaware this is happening in my brain, but it was happening. And so finally I talked myself off a ledge, and like 2 hours later, maybe I was able to go back to sleep. Okay. So then the next day we don't say anything about it, but we do hear other people talking about it, like at breakfast and stuff, like, ooh, that alarm was crazy. So then the hotel calls our room.
Yeah, our phone rings in the room.
In the middle of the day.
Yeah, middle of the day. Rhea's in the shower, and I'm like, this is weird. So I pick up the phone, and the lady on the phone's like, hi, Mr. St. Augustine. This is, I forget her name, but she's like, yeah, I checked you in. I was the one that checked you in. Hope your stay is going well. And, you know, asked if there's anything she could do to make our stay better. And I'm like, no. And she just says, and by the way, sorry about the alarm last night. We are going to credit you $100 back for that. And I was like, oh, awesome. We didn't say anything about it. We weren't going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
So they credited us $100 for that.
So without us asking, they did that. And
Yeah.
so I thought that was real, like, incredible. Yeah. And Dwayne was joking, like, oh, hope it goes off again tonight. And I was like, I hope it doesn't. But then
it did go off for the second night in a row.
Yep.
This time at like 11:45.
The first one was like 11 because it went off 3 times.
Oh,
yeah. It was 11. And then it went off probably again 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, man, this is so frustrating. And then I think they must have learned from the night before, because then they came on and gave us like, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the, interruption. Like,
well, people probably complained from the night before, like, hey, this alarm went off, and then you didn't even freaking tell us, like,
everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they did say that after it went off the first, like the second night. Okay. But then it went off 2 more times, like within the next hour. And the second time, again, it was a few minutes, and I was like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. And then it stopped, and then it went off 1 more time, but it was just like maybe 5 seconds. It went off for 5 seconds, and then someone must have just been like, nope, and like just killed it, and it never went off again.
There were some pissed off people though the next morning, for sure.
And that was the day we were checking out.
Yeah. So
at checkout, they gave us another $100 off. So they took $200 off of our bill for that. So obviously it's not ideal, right? It was definitely an interruption, especially the first night, because we were already sleeping. The second night we were awake, but it was frustrating. But I think they handled it really well. They didn't have to give us money off, but they were proactive and did it anyways.
Yeah.
You did hear that someone else was checking out, and they only had their resort fee refunded.
Yeah, they only had their resort fee refunded,
which was $80 a day.
Which I thought was weird. But
so I'm not sure how they decided. Maybe it was by status level, because again, we do have the Platinum Elite status with that card. So I have no idea how they decided what they would give, because it doesn't seem like it was the same across the board. But the fact that they were proactive about it without us ever having to ask, I think says a lot, because, things are going to go wrong. It's not the first time we've been in a hotel where the alarm has gone off. And so I just think, they
5-star,
well.
5-diamond hotel.
Yes.
So
for like the 3rd or 4th year in a row, they said.
And I mean, the property was beautiful.
Oh, it was fantastic. So here is how, we would like to bring our kids back here. I think our kids would love it. And here's how, I have a couple of different ideas of how we could make that happen. So number 1, we could book 2 rooms, because here's the tricky part. When you search for points, there's a maximum of 4 to a room. And once you hit 5, there's no points rooms available. So you have a couple of options. 1, you can book 2 rooms and then ask for them to be connecting, which I don't know if they can guarantee that or not. Maybe. Or I asked when we checked out, and you could book a regular 2 queen room and then pay the cash price to upgrade it to a premium queen, I think is what she said. We'll sleep 5, and they can bring in a rollaway bed. I don't know what the difference would be. Like, I don't know how much it would cost to pay to upgrade from the regular queen room you can book on points to the premium room. And she couldn't tell me, because I'm sure it varies by season and availability. But I think one of those 2 ways is how we'll do it. The third way is I'm trying to convince my parents and my sister to come on this trip, which would mean we could technically on paper stick a kid in their room, and then we would have 4 and 4, and then we would just need to book 1 room. So those are the options. Not quite sure which one we'll do yet. I do think it's fairly easy to earn IHG points. So like you and I could each open a business card, and we would have plenty of points for, like a 4-night stay there. Nice. The other thing we learned on this trip that one of the servers at the hotel actually told us is that there is a Hyatt opening up on Grand Cayman sometime next year. So we had talked about maybe once that's open, trying to split our stay between Hyatt and the Seafire and kind of comparing and contrasting the two. So if we wanted to go longer than 4 days, that's probably how we would do it.
Forgot to mention, this place also has a splash pad for kids.
Oh, they do.
We didn't go because obviously we didn't have the kids with us, but
it was pretty big.
I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
They had chairs. There was a water slide. Like it looked, kids would have fun there for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. So all in all, despite the little fire alarm hiccup, we still give it 10 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Yes. Would 100% return. We are still talking about it, and we've been home for a week now, or almost a week. And so I think if that has been on your list, would 100% recommend it.
Yeah. And if it's not on your list,
you should add it.
Put it on your list for sure.
Yep. Hope this was helpful. As always, if you have questions, you can find us on Instagram at TravelParty5. Give us a follow. And if this podcast was helpful, we would love it if you would rate us on Spotify or review us on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And we appreciate you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll catch you on the next one.
Have a good one.
Bye.